And now, it's time for another Dice Tower review with Tom Vasel.
Hey folks, I'm Tom Vasel. We're taking a look today at Now Boarding. I fly a lot over the course of a year, and if there's one thing that can make pretty much anybody angry, it's flying, right? And it's not, I don't blame airports and airlines. Things go wrong, and I have no idea the amount of math and problematic situations that show up, and how do you get everyone to all the different places? That's mind-boggling to me. But when you get there and you find out your flight's delayed, no matter what kind of good attitude, you're like, and then you find out your flight's been canceled, and then you find out that you're not going to be able to go to the next day even though you needed to be there today, and you told your mom you would be there, and then they say, you know what, they lost your luggage. And even the most calm person can become quite irate. Well, that's what this game is about, except you're the airlines, trying to make everybody happy, trying to have no one complain. Sorry. Well, but in this game, try to have a few people complain. Here's how it plays. So each player is going to have their own airline, and when you have your own airline, you're going to build your airplane. It's going to show you this, your color, for example, and your pilot. It will show you your starting airport. So here at LAX, you get one spot to hold someone and your starting speed of 3. Although each player is going to be able to pick adding another seat or another speed. So I'll start with an extra speed here. So each player is going to have, like I said, their color and their airline. You're going to start with one passenger in your airport. So I'm in LAX. I have this passenger who wants to go to San Francisco, and they'll pay me $1 if they do. It shows you which one on the back. You're also going to make some piles of cards over here in this pre-flight area. Once those piles are done, you'll flip it over to the other side. And then I'm going to put out weather at the beginning of each round, and you know a round's over when this pile runs out. And you're going to be putting out a certain number of passengers per round. So in a 4-player game, that's how I have this set up for now, we'll be drawing 3 passengers per round, then 4, then 5. So at the beginning of each round, though, in general, I'm going to put out some weather. So I have these cards shuffled. The first card, so this is from Denver to Dallas-Fort Worth, I'm going to put one of these tokens here, and it's going to add an extra spot on that line. It's 2 spots right now. Now there's 3. And then the next weather spot from Denver to ORD, that's going to have 1 less spot. So where's Denver? So here, now there's only 1 spot rather than 2. And I'm just going to keep alternating with these here. So adding 2 spots between those. LAX to Miami has 1 less spot. ORD to JFK has an extra spot. And Atlanta to Miami has 1 less spot. In fact, that means it's a really fast trip as we put these out here on the board. Each player has their own little airplane that starts on the board. And so at the beginning of each kind of round of play, remember I said we're going to be putting out 3 of these, so 2 are going to ORD. We put them there face down, and 1 is going to LAX, and we'll put that face down. So to start a round, what we'll do, I guess we can talk first. We flip these over, and then we'll flip over a timer, and the length of the timer is basically on the number of players. This is a 30-second timer for 4 players. At that point, players will be able to take actions as this time is running out. You can move your airplane. So I can move this airplane 4 spaces. I can take with me 1 passenger. 1 passenger, I'm not very good at building my airplane here. 1 passenger will fit in here because I have 1 space to put them. So I can move 4. So I can go 1, 2, 3, and drop that passenger off. Since I'm dropping that passenger off, I keep it in front of me as $1. There's no one there to pick up, unfortunately, so maybe I'll start flying up to Denver. I don't know. This is where you would talk to everybody else. When you fly, you can only fly across white dots or dots that are the same color as your airplane. So I couldn't, if I went to Denver, for example, I'm kind of stuck. I can't go to ORD or up to Seattle. I can only go in some other areas. So each player, you might have to communicate. You can drop a passenger off at an airport and someone else can pick them up and move along with them. And you can pass each other. And as time goes by, you'll be able to figure out the most effective way to get passengers across the board. Once time has run out, the turn is over, or when you're finished. And then, if you want to, you can buy upgrades if you have delivered enough passengers for money. You can increase your speed, all the way up to an extra 9 speed. You can add more seats, up to 5 seats in your plane, or you can buy routes, which means you take one of these markers, stick it on your plane, and that means you can fly on that color now. Now, you're not going to be able to do all these. They're very expensive, so you'll need to deliver a lot of passengers. We then add some more passengers to the board, but more importantly, and this is the bad part of the game, every passenger who is not at their destination airport and is not on an airplane is going to get an anger cube. Now, when the passengers get picked up and go on a plane, their anger cubes go away. So you technically could pick up someone from JFK who wants to go to Dallas-Fort Worth, drop them off in Chicago real briefly, let them sit there, they'll get rid of their anger cubes, but then they'll add another anger cube, and their anger cubes will build. If anyone has 4 anger cubes, they file a complaint and go to a pile. You have 3 complaints, you lose the game. Other than that, you simply have to make it through all the way to the end and deliver as many passengers as you possibly can. And that's pretty much the way that the game is. I really like how the planes look here, especially as time goes by and you're adding more and more passengers to the plane. It just has a fun look to it. And when you have a bunch of people who are on the plane, that's just I don't know, I just like the look of how that works. The components are all really good quality. The cards are good quality. The board itself here is a double-sided board, because one of the sides you only use for 2 to 3 players. You're basically taking out an airport. I'm not sure why Godzilla's up there. So you're playing with a slightly smaller board, and you can take out the cards. The cards are marked for that. You also have VIP people that you can add to the game if you want to. These you add to a passenger, and this one has to be the first passenger picked up. This guy, when he gets picked up, doesn't get rid of his anger cubes. Miner can't be by themselves. This guy can't fly through weather. Other passengers get 1 anger every turn when you have a crying baby. Capture fugitive, you need an extra seat. Grumpy 3 anger and they complain. So this just adds some flavor and of course makes the game harder. My only complaint maybe about the things is this board here. So at the beginning of the game, this shows you how to put all the piles together, right? And then you flip it over and you use this part. The problem is you're turning over a certain number of cards per turn. Now, granted, it's not that hard to remember 3, 4, 5, or 4, 5, 6, how many players. I still think that would have been a better idea to put on this side of the board, maybe down here. I'm not sure how, but the graphic design of the board and the look of all the different characters, I mean, I like, the pilots. This is just fun to see the different pilots. The art for this, I mean, it's typical Tim Fowers artwork that is in these games, but I really like how it looks. So this is a cooperative game, obviously. It's going to be one where players are going to need to work together. Some people might be very hesitant because I mentioned timers involved with this game, and I would tell you to be of good cheer. They're really not a bad thing. The timers essentially exist so that someone else can't tell you what to do, right? I can easily move my guy to where they need to be, pick up passengers, drop off passengers in the 15-second or 30-second time thing. It's not that hard. You just say, you think ahead of time, you talk about it, you don't know where all the passengers are. You know where most of them are. So you can have discussions and say, I'm going to go here, you flip it over. Oh, that guy needs to go to Atlanta. I might have to make a quick decision. But it's not like this game is like, all the time. You don't have that angst that's, sometime things go, at least in my experience. You do have to work together, though, because you cannot fly across the country all by yourself. You definitely are going to have a money problem in this game because you're going to want to buy all sorts of upgrades that you just simply cannot afford. All right, it's just the case. There's just not a lot of extra space to put everything, or to have that money to put. I want to have 5 seats and go 9 speed. Just can't do that. I kind of think speed might be better, but then you sit there and go, I can only move 1 passenger. I need to move 2. Now I need to move 3. And the more passengers, even if you move slowly, you can keep people from getting angry as you slowly shuttle them around the board. I think the theming of this game is spot on. I think the cooperative nature of this game is also really well done, and the idea of the game is good. The components look great. I like it. My one caveat, and this keeps me from saying the game is great, is that each game that I've played has felt extremely similar. Now, the games are going to be different, right? Different passengers are going to show up in different places. Sometimes, this passenger is going to be here. The weather, don't get me wrong, there's a lot of randomness and variety in the game. But I feel like my fourth game, I'm saying, hey, this is kind of like the first game, to some degree. That's fine, but it keeps me from saying the game is fantastic because I'm not sure there's like an unlimited number of plays in a box for me. But there might be for you. And it is a lot of fun. Like I said, this theme, the artwork is spot on. You have this whole idea of flying people around the board. It's kind of maybe we tend to sit and think of airline executives as evil people. In this game, you do kind of care about the bottom line. I will strand you in Atlanta if it just keeps you from getting really mad. So maybe it perpetuates that a bit. But it's certainly an interesting game to check out. Fowers keeps making some interesting, unique, small, cool designs. And that's Now Boarding. Dice Tower Judgment approved!